morning, everyone. It's Matt from Trail Rider Camp. I am here in Halliburton Park in Wilmington, North Carolina. So not my usual neck of the woods, but I'm here today to ride a trail or a route called the Gary Shell Cross City Trail. So it's like the main trail that runs throughout Wilmington. Altogether, it looks like it's something like 26 miles and change round trip from end to end and back. Why I'm here is I'm frankly on vacation visiting my parents for spring break, and this is one of the closest trails in the area. So I'm gonna check it out. Not sure really what to expect, but beautiful morning. So I started in Halliburton Park because a lot of the reviews say that parking is very limited, and there's definitely tons of spots available. It's a Tuesday morning around 9 o'clock, and lots of people in the park doing different things. There's facilities there for bathroom, picnic tables, and then you basically, it's self-explanatory. You park, the little trail's right here, and then it kind of comes down and comes right out along the side of this main road as a separate lane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head toward the far eastern end first, where it ends at a place called Wade Park, and then I'm going to double back, come back through Halliburton, go the entire length the other direction. And if you look at it on a map, this trail is shaped like a big C. So I'm kind of at the bottom eastern end of the C, and then I'm going to go down to the end and then loop back. So there's basically no signage to speak of whatsoever, and within the first mile, there's already some confusion. I know that what I did was I pre-programmed everything into Komoot ahead of time, but with the amount of road noise, because you're going along the side of these really busy roads, and you got people out doing work and adjoining businesses, it is almost impossible to hear the voice navigation. So I definitely missed a turn. I'm actually just going to go down the length of this and see where this leads me, and then I'm going to turn around, double back to the route that I should have been doing. All right, so I went about a mile farther north off track, and the trail was great along here, but you're crossing a lot of increasingly busy streets. So it looks like the trail terminates just beyond this series of really busy intersections. So I'm just going to turn around here and find my way back to the trail proper. So this is the kind of street crossing on the way to Wade. Super busy. And it looks like a glorified sidewalk over there. Though I do see a sign for the Cross City Trail. So after that intersection, you go down two roads that just have this little 5-foot wide bike lane on both sides heading to Wade Park. Yeah, so Wade Park has this really cute little loop around it. It's probably only 0.2 miles in size, but it's worth looping around. They got the little bridge in the center, some kind of tall grass pond. So yeah, cute little park. This parking lot in Halliburton Park is huge. It's basically a big loop with probably well in excess of 100 spaces. So again, this is Tuesday morning, about 10 o'clock, and tons of spots. So the route through Halliburton Park, though short, is absolutely beautiful. You're all kind of back here in the woods, still paved, and then you hang a left and you pop back out at a road crossing and leave the park. After the park, you're basically right next to some quiet townhome communities that look really nice and have direct trail access, and you get away from the busy road there. So I would say that first stretch from Halliburton to the end and back, very noisy, very busy, but you're always off the road with the exception of that small little connector piece to Wade Park. So all in all, I've been happy with the route so far. Stand by. I'm on Independence Boulevard, running parallel to it, which is very busy again. But you're riding on this beautiful little pond here. Very nice. So this intersection here at Shipyard and Independence Boulevard, first of all, you wait forever, like 5 minutes for the light. And then, I'm not kidding you, not a single person yielded to me. I mean, they were just blowing through the turn. So again, some of these intersections you have to keep your head on a swivel, big time. So we're skirting along the edge of another park called Empty Park. And then there's this beautiful new construction apartments and condos right here along the way, really pretty. And then through these trees is the park, and you can't really tell, but there's actually a lot of parking in there as well. That was pretty noticeable. And I also noticed that with all these bumps, my seat is getting very loose, so I might have to stop and tighten this up here at some point. So we're in that empty park, and I stopped to tighten up my seat post. And there is signage along the way, though at some intersections it's very unclear which kind of trail to follow, but it's again usually this nice wide asphalt, and then got a nice playground, shuffleboard courts, horseshoes. There's guys playing bocce over there, so and tons of parking. A nice little kind of lake randomly. And you can see I've kind of gotten off the road a little bit, which is nice. Most of the day we've been hugging the road. Real nice area. So this is the theme of this trail. Waiting at really busy intersections, and right over there is the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. So I've been seeing a lot more foot traffic on campus, and class is definitely in session based on the amount of cars and students walking around. And now we're back into kind of like a quiet residential area again. I gotta say, for the amount of negative reviews, you're barely on the road other than road crossings, and you're almost always on a nice surface away from traffic. So we just kind of cut through some little residential area, basically a bike lane on the street for 0.25 miles, and now you're in some kind of protected wetland. But I figure we gotta be kind of getting close to the end of the trail here soon. Another little lake slash pond here. So I think this is like the third one of the day that have been really picturesque. And this is just such a random trail. I mean, I found it to be very entertaining just because it's so much variety. You're going through a college campus, you're in some wetland preserve, you're driving through somebody's neighborhood, you're going across busy intersections, you're going through nice little parks. It really gives you a nice varied experience. This last little bit of the trail here has been terrible. Super busy road, tons of utility work, surface is different, not enjoyable at all, and busy road crossings. All right, officially made it to the end of the route, and it looks like you can take your bike down there and cross the bridge somehow over to Wrightsville Beach. I'm not going to do that because I'm already kind of running late with all these road crossings versus where I thought I would be. So I'm going to stick to my plotted out plan as per the online sources. I'm going to head back to my car. I didn't really tape this on the way down, but this is what really constitutes for road riding on much of the trail. Neighborhoods. All right, made it back to the car. Mission accomplished. Altogether, the trail out and back to both ends, 31 miles altogether. So kind of a mixed bag. I would consider it more of a route than a trail, because it would kind of co-opt bike lanes and then neighborhood streets and then paths through parks, and it was a little bit of everything. So I figure I'm starving right now. It's about 12:50, so I'm gonna go find some lunch, which shouldn't be hard since I'm in a major city, and then I'll go back to the house and give my kind of summary thoughts once I get fueled up. All right, so I'm back at the house and it's time to do the usual wrap up of the trail. Like I said, this trail is a little bit challenging to review because it's more of a route than a true trail. And so the experience varies quite a bit from segment to segment. From a scenery perspective, I gave this a 3 out of 10. Obviously, being an urban trail sometimes has its limitations on traditional scenery, though there were a few, very picturesque bodies of water. You do go through the campus of UNC Wilmington, and so you get to see all the athletic fields and things that are kind of cool. And then you have the view of the intercoastal waterway right at the end at Wrightsville Beach. So there is some, but most of it you're just looking at, frankly, busy roads. The surface, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Very smooth asphalt surface almost the entire way, with a few exceptions where you're on the road or on some kind of like sidewalk. Safety, I gave it a 2 out of 5, even though the city does a great job of removing the trail from the road. Just the extent of insanely busy intersections that you have to cross is pretty precarious, and people do not pay attention or yield to you whatsoever. Parking, I gave it a 4 out of 5. There's, again, 3 main parks along the route. 2 of them, Halliburton and Empey, have more than adequate parking, so I'd recommend starting at one of those locations. Food and drink, I gave it a 4 out of 5, even though I didn't highlight any through the video. You're on an urban trail, and so there's tons of food and drink options, especially if you're into fast food. There was a ton of fast food near the campus of UNC Wilmington. Facilities, 4 out of 5. I saw a lot of repair stations along the way, a lot of picnic tables. Both Halliburton and Empey Park, have bathrooms and water. So a lot of facilities there if you need them. Wildlife, 0 out of 5. I don't think I saw anything other than maybe like a Canadian goose, and that was it. And then from a fun perspective, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I always like trails with variety. And this trail had a lot of variety, and so I found it to be entertaining, and it kind of kept my attention the entire time. Now, part of that entertainment was the fact that you had to keep your head on a swivel and constantly, be wary of traffic. But all in all, I was glad I did the trail. And frankly, in the region where there's not many good trail options, this is kind of it. If you like doing a good 30-mile bike ride and you're in the neighborhood of Wilmington, this is probably your best bet. So I'd recommend checking it out. I give it a 28 out of 50 altogether. Not a bad trail by any stretch, and definitely worth, a morning or afternoon's ride.